Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
Well, if it isn't Sunday Night Live, welcome back to everybody, folks. Here we are. We've got, we got YouTube, we got subscribestar.com, and we got thepreparedmind.club. All together, we call it the zoo, and it is your turn to run the show. Hey, we put up with all kinds of stuff last week, and we've got a world full of SHTF right in front of us. What do you guys want to talk about? This is your chance to get it out. This is the big show. All week long, we cover everything, of course. But Sunday night's the big show as we finish our weekend and we get ready for more crap that they're going to be feeding us with slingshots, trying to force feed us their baloney. Well, this is where we're at. This is, we called it years ago. Hey, shit is coming. And then pow, it has hit the fan. It is here. So the question is, what are we going to do about it? Well, get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. We've got Man, we've got Jolene in the background doing their magic, and we've got all of you here watching live. What I would like you to do is hit the thumbs up, and I would like you to take that internet address right up there and share it with friends, family, co-workers. Share it with people you don't like because it'll piss them off. That's right. We're not, look, this is what Jesus Christos says. He says, I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. I have not come here to be everyone's friends on the left. I've come here to let the left, folks, the Democrats, know we are their enemies. And it is they who have started this war and tried taking over our country. And I'm not going to put up with their shit. Hell no. I'm not going down. I'm not going to go down fighting. I'm not going down at all. My plan is to win this. And I'm glad you are here with me. Now, are we talking about a violent insurrection? No. Are we talking about committing crimes? No, not at all. We're talking about what is going on, what is happening, what is coming, and what we need to do to protect ourselves, our families, and our nation. So once again, food. Do you have 3 months, 6 months, a year's worth of food? If things get wild and hairy, do you have food? Same with water. Can you store it, sanitize it, purify it? What kind of clothing do you have? What kind of shelter do you have? As you can see, I'm in the glorious ammo box section of the bunker, right? And then medicine. Do you have medicine? Prescription medicine you may need? Last you more than a freaking week, right? How about first aid? How about antibiotics? And by first aid, I mean a first aid kit for dealing with serious injuries. And do you have painkillers? And I'm not talking about illegal stuff, over the shelf, over the counter type stuff. Do you have those things? And then self-defense. I sure hope you have your self-defense and you've been practicing with it. I've been practicing with mine. And I tell you what, I'm feeling particularly deadly. So get your questions in. You can hit that super chat button up there. Down below in the description is an address for PayPal, CashApp, Venmo. You can make donation there and get your questions in here as well. We're going to start off. Oh, well, of course. It's not just me and Man in the studio. Also got the Glenn Levitt 15. On Sundays, I like to sit back, even though it's the end of the weekend, treat it kind of like a Friday night with you guys. Any super chat donation, $50 or more, buys me a Glenn Levitt 15. And we're going to start right off the bat with Darcy. Darcy T checked in with a $50 super chat donation. And that, of course, is going to call for a scotch to get us started off. And by the way, we also have Chin Music, who has done his usual to make sure I am well medicated, well lubricated, and ready to roll. So Darcy T, Semper Fi, thank you for this, and thank you for all the work you do behind the scenes. Same with Chin Music, same with John, same with Bonnie, same with Ron, same with Michael, same with Frank, same with Susie, same with everybody. Christine and Marilyn, John, and there's a bunch of Johns, by the way. Now I'm all confused. Got too many names. You got Blue Court Devil. You got all the fun names out there, right? Who's your daddy? Everybody, Semper Fi. Love it. So Darcy T says, good evening, John. An observation. And Darcy T is in Texas, folks. She says, we are being given a front row seat to the border crisis. Seeing all those able-bodied, fighting-aged men crossing over. We are being led to believe that these men will likely participate in the civil war that many of us are expecting to occur at some point. It's also building animosity between the citizens and the illegals. If there really was a showdown, does anyone really believe that untrained and unarmed illegals, at least for the moment, would stand a chance against ex-military, trained, and armed citizenry across America? The answer is no. But what if there are already trained armed troops here, aided by the globalists? Who will be the ones actually carrying out the terrorism and placing blame on the illegals? Then the next step would be for the UN to come in and restore order. Oh, you opened a shit pile of a problem, a can of worms that is just overfloweth. She says, your thoughts. Oh, let's unpack this right now. There has been a complaint, a worry, persistent for over a decade, that there are troops from other countries in this nation of ours, that armies and platoons and individual terrorists have been sneaking in, infiltrating, finding their way into the country, fully trained, and yes, also fully armed. That's been the worry, folks. Now, what Darcy T points out is a classic misdirection. The American people, by and large, are asleep. We try to wake them up. Waking up is not winning. You've got to wake up, get prepared, and take action. Now, they are relying on us to be asleep. So the massive percentage of sleeping Americans wake up one day and discover that they're being told by the mainstream media that illegal immigrants have started fighting Americans. But the people who are fighting these armed, shall we say, terrorists, discover they're not ragtag idiots, but that they have some experience, some training. Right? They're not shooting from the hip, full auto, blowing their magazine, emptying everything out, and just getting plugged and knocked over. They're a little smarter than that for some reason. Well, people are going to think they're illegals because the mainstream media says they're illegals. Now, you are correct, I think, that would definitely throw off everybody. Now, every single nation, Darcy, since World War II, and probably before that, but it was stated very clearly by the Japanese in World War II that they don't want to invade America. They don't want to hit our soil because behind every blade of grass is an American with a rifle. That is as true. No, it's more true today than ever. More true today than ever. That said, right? People who are here that are trained, that have infiltrated, that have gathered intel, recon, if you will. They have reconnaissance on our strongholds. Where does the food come from? Where does the water come from? What are the transportation arteries? How can they take it down with minimal effort, minimal loss of life? Remember, the enemy, if they're here, and they are, and they have plans, and they do. They have a limited amount of time before they are either running for the hills themselves to hide, or they meet their extinguishment. Now, I'll tell you, there's an enormous amount of veterans and hunters and hicks and hillbillies and fucking hood rats that would love to just get down and take out terrorists. Now, if you have noticed, maybe you haven't, but a lot of you have, even in now the big cities, the inner cities, even the ghettos, they've had it with these fucking illegals. They've had it. They're taking up all the social resources, extra money, extra food, and that's pissing off the ghetto rats even. Everybody dislikes the illegals, period. So they will be hunted on all sides and all quarters, folks, if anything were to happen. I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm just saying it would. Now, with respect to the United Nations, I am so glad you brought this up. When I saw this, I was shocked. Shocked. Let me see if I can get to it. We got Tyson Foods. We got Florida. There's so much that happened this weekend. Well, I guess I'm going to have to do this the fucking hard way. What are we talking about here? We're talking about the illegals just causing trouble after trouble after trouble. And then the United Nations, folks. The United Nations. It is so hard there's too much going on. Well, let's start with Haiti. And then we'll move on. With respect to illegals, we were told that Joe Biden is going to escort ships from Haiti up to America, out of the Caribbean, right? The island nation of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Two nations occupying the same island, you bet. Well, in Florida, folks, guess what? Florida officers, not the Coast Guard, not the U.S. Navy, Florida law enforcement on the water has stopped a boat from Haiti. It was heading to our country, to U.S. shores. And surprise, 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 guess what was on board? Do you think it was a bunch of half-starved refugees seeking asylum? No, and no. Not a fucking chance. On board this ship where you would have expected to find refugees running from the disaster of Haiti. Nope. You know what they had? They had night vision equipment. They had guns and they had drugs. That's right, folks. Haiti. Exporting drugs, sex trafficking, and of course, you guessed it, guns, and guns. Where do you think those guns are going? I know right where they're going. They're going to go into the hands of criminals. Because honest people like you and me, we go to the gun store and buy our guns. Haitians are bringing guns, drugs, night vision equipment, which is used for military applications, folks, or terrorism, if you will. You bet. And the United Nations, folks, I've got to get to this. Where the fuck was it? Well, Greg Gutfield, Alan, Tommy. Well, fuck it. I'm just going to tell you what happened. The United Nations, folks, the World Health Organization, they're now being criticized, folks, the United Nations, because of rape. Not just the UN soldiers, not just them, but the World Health Organization, doctors, nurses, etc. Thank you, Jolene. She just forwarded me the article. Thank you. Up there it is. There it is. Healthcare workers. Thank you, Jolene. You are on the freaking ball. And guess what? It also has all my notes in it because I send all my notes to Jolene. Fuck, I tell you, healthcare workers raped innocent people, including children. And the UN peacekeepers you were just now talking about, Darcy, guess what? They shelled, as in used artillery on innocent civilians. Peacekeepers using artillery to kill civilians. Okay, folks, let me give you some facts. Mr. Tedros, who is the leader of the WHO, or was the leader. Wait. He is the leader of the WHO, but he was the leader of Ethiopia's Minority Party, which was a wing of the Marxist-rooted Ethiopian People's Revolutionary Democratic Front. Why can't they just have a short fucking name? All of these Marxists want to sound really important. Ethiopian People's Revolutionary Democratic Front. In other words, the Communist Party of Ethiopia. He was a leader of that. And now he's the leader of the World Health Organization? Right? Now, this group that I just described, the Ethiopian People's Revolutionary Front, a.k.a. Tigray People's Liberation Front, the TPLF, is a State Department recognized terrorist organization. So, the WHO is headed up by a terrorist. Surprised? I'm not. Now, as shocking as that seems, and as shocking as the revelations about mass rapes of women and children by UN peacekeepers and teachers is, now we have the rape of women and children by medical personnel who are supposed to be dedicated to carrying out saving lives. Instead, they're dedicated to carrying out the same atrocities as terrorists. Now, Frontline News, right? It's not CBS, it's not ABC, NBC, MSNBC, or CNN, right? You won't get news like this from them. But Frontline News says, hey, right? They said the WHO, the WHO, the World Health Organization, is headed by a terrorist who keeps rapists and pedophiles on staff, giving them the power to abuse the poorest people of the world. And there is no accountability, right? Tedros won't fire 83 different staff members who have been engaged in abuse. One victim, age 13, claimed raped, forced abortion. But folks, the World Health Organization says that there was no rules of theirs violated because the victims were not receiving aid from the World Health Organization. So I guess the UN can go into a country, as long as they're not helping you, they can fuck you, literally, or bomb you, right? There have been UN sex trafficking scandals in Bosnia, Kosovo, as well as, folks, a notorious child sex ring organized in Haiti by more than 100 United Nations personnel. Who else? Haiti. Haven't we been talking about Haiti lately? Didn't the Clintons try bringing children out of Haiti? Child sex ring in Haiti, World Health Organization. Child sex ring in Haiti, United Nations. Clintons in Haiti and Clinton staffers in Haiti trying to get children out. Now, this is not just an American thing, folks. This isn't just a media thing. In Australia, they have a senator. So this is not news. This is a politician, elected leader in Australia. His name is Malcolm Roberts. He was on the floor of Parliament, folks, arguing that the World Health Organization is pretending to be unaware of the rapes, the children being raped, carried out by their staff. And he says, hey, the WHO is rotting from the head, right? The UN forces in Mogadishu are killing civilians with artillery in their homes, in the markets. And here's the estimate. In the last 3 months alone, the UN have killed more than 160 civilians and injured more than 400. You've got to be fucking kidding me. No, I'm not kidding, folks. So going back to Darcy T with the show opener, the show opener, yeah, the UN, they would love to have these illegals here take the blame for terrorists who have been imported over the years building their groups, developing their plans, finding our weak spots, and then bring in the UN to help us. I don't think Americans are going to take. I don't think they're going to take to having blue-helmeted rapists driving through our cities in their little, I got to use the right words, limp-wristed bullshit white vehicles. Just remember, folks, use a red laser on blue helmet. It works better that way. Right, don't use a blue laser on blue helmet. It kind of gets tricky. Okay, there it is. Okay, let's do this. Thank you, Darcy T. Now, Chin Music has done his super chat donation. $50.07. That's $50 and a 007. And 007 drinks scotch as well. He drinks Macallan. I don't care for it as much. I like the Glenlivet or Glenfiddich. But anyways, while I pour this, dun 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 dun. I'll probably get a fucking copyright strike for that. No humming the song from James Bond. Chin Music, to you, brother. I hope you've been fighting all weekend the way I know you want to fight. It's with your hands and with your mind. Semper Fi. Whoa. It just gets better and better. Bam! All right. Let's do some Chin Music. And here it is. He says, John, my biggest fear is that the U.S. military, whose sole purpose and mission is to kill people and break things on behalf of United States of America citizens, is being prepared to be turned against us. Please, everyone in the Prepared Mind family, go to militaryaccountability.net and read their proclamation and sign it if you feel led to. Hope everyone is doing well in the family. We need each other now more than ever. Love you guys. And that's really a nice thing to say, is that we are Americans on this network, and all social media networks that promote the Constitution, the red, white, and blue, our customs and traditions, and our laws. Now, my recommendation, let's go to the number 2 line from Mr. Music, Chin Music, because I want militaryaccountability.net. I want that to be understood read. Go there. Also, while you're here, remember, thumbs up. Thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up button. Share the internet address. Do it now, please. This is my chance to have you help grow the information network. That's what we're doing. Now, with respect to the military, it's been a number of weeks now since I've been anywhere near a military base or near a bunch of, shall we say, active duty enlisted Marines or soldiers. The U.S. military, its sole purpose and mission used to be kill people and break things for protecting this country and our interests and our safety. Now the sole purpose and mission of the United States military is to make sure as many members as possible cut off their dicks and take drugs so they grow boobs. That's what the military does now. With the exception, and I will make this exception, Mr. Music, Chin, that the infantry is still heavily populated by patriotic Americans who want to keep their testicles and their dicks intact, who are very aggressive. And I will tell you, some of them might be communists. And hopefully everybody in the military knows exactly where these people are. Now, I think we're going to get a good taste, and this will be a huge clue for you and I, Chin, and everyone else. President Trump is going to be campaigning from now all the way to Election Day in November. First Tuesday of November is Election Day. He is going to campaign, no doubt, and have military personnel around him. It is my understanding and my experience that the military is on our side. Now, the Pentagon, worthless, fucking worthless. Now, there are good officers there, yes. But for the most part, the brass has all been replaced with a bunch of screaming socialist, anti-American sacks of shit like Vindeman. Remember that Lieutenant Colonel Vindeman piece of shit who tried crapping all over Trump? Alec Vindeman. And then you've got what? People like General Milli Vanilli, another giant piece of cross-dressing sack of shit. None of these people, folks, are worth their weight in manure. Now, having said that, I would love for them to challenge me to a fight. Fisticuffs. Bring it on. I'm old, you're old. Let's get it the fuck on. It's not going to happen. They won't do it. They don't accept challenges, of sportsmen. But what's going to happen, folks, is our military is going to have to make a decision. They're going to have to check their souls. Do they or do they not believe that their word means something? I'm going to tell you this right now. Think about an oath. Think about the oath you take when you join the military. It's the same oath that police officers take, elected politicians, right? You agree voluntarily of your own free will and accord, without reservation. I could say all kinds of other words, but let's just get to it, right? You swear an oath to the Constitution, to the people, and you do so by raising your right hand to God. So it's a spiritual, religious experience to swear an oath. Now, you are only as good as your word. And if you do not stand up for your oath, then what are you? You are a chicken shit or a liar or both. And anyone who claims to be in the government, in law enforcement, or the military who violates that oath, as far as I'm concerned, not only are they un-American, they are a traitor and a spy. That is, they're working for the enemy and they're working for the destruction of this country, and they need to be eliminated. And it's not time. I'm not telling anyone to do anything illegal or violent or commit crimes. Understand what I'm saying. Those people will need to be eliminated from their positions, kicked out of office, kicked out of their job, kicked out of the military. Now, understand, when the shooting starts, folks, there's going to be a whole lot of people being fired. The military, I think, is going to, shall we say, I'm going to use a fancy word, bifurcate. It is going to split. It is going to be like a cancer patient that is able to take off their cancerous arm and rip it off and throw it away. I believe military units will leave the base. They will, shall we say, muster elsewhere, or they will muster on base and arrest and get rid of the rest of the scumbags. There's going to have to be a place. Now, here, this is how it works, folks. Once you have a traitor in your midst, what you do is you have everyone else go into a tent in front of their commanding officer, a general, somebody, and swear that oath again to them and look a man in the eye and take that oath. And then out the tent, and in comes the next guy. And everyone stands before the man and swears that oath again to make sure that they understand that if they violate that oath in the least, it'll be an instant execution. No fucking trial, just instant execution. Folks, battlefield. There's no time for playing fucking games. If that happens in this country, folks, and we're talking civil war, we're talking partisan conflict, we're talking the military is called by some jackass like Joe Biden to start shooting at Americans. Oh, this has been, these thoughts have been exercised for years. What happens if? What happens if the military is told they have to shoot civilians? What happens if they decide they're going to declare a national emergency? What happens if FEMA takes over? What happens if the military, right, is told you're done, go home? What happens if the military is told you no longer owe an obligation to the Constitution and the people? You now work for the United Nations. You've heard that one, right? United Nations shows up and the president gives command and control of our military to the United Nations. Oh, there's just so many different ways this could turn out, right? Will the military do that? Can you imagine you in your life being told you're now going to obey a foreigner? Get the fuck out of my face with that. I remember when there was that bitch from the United Nations somewhere in Utah telling people what they had to and had to not do because of cerveza bug. And someone said, this is the United States of America. And this stupid bitch from the UN folks started telling Americans, oh, no, this isn't the United States here. This building is owned and run by the United Nations, and we have our own rules. Chin music, thank you very much. You got me all wound up. And now I'm going to tell you, remember that cerveza bug shit? Remember that? Remember how our own government turned against us and told us to stay locked in our houses? Your fucking businesses are closed down. Schools are closed down. Your life, you can't go anywhere. We're non-essential. Remember that when the government told all of us we're non-essential? Are you fucking kidding me? Think about it. Get mad. Remember that shit. And here we go. The Centers for Disease Control, folks, today, or very recently, it just made it to the news cycle. The CDC has released 148 pages of a study, not a tiny study, 148 pages that dug into myocarditis, that followed the Jim Jones juice. That is to say, people who got enlarged hearts after getting the Jim Jones juice. And out of those 148 pages, guess how many words were left that were legible? Not even one. Not even one fucking word on 148 pages of a study released by the CDC. Every single word was redacted, erased, blacked out, smudged, removed. They're not being honest with us, folks. They're fucking lying. The UN, the World Health Organization, Washington, D.C., you think they're our friend? Really? You think they're our friend? You got to be out of your fucking gourd. Folks, it has hit the fan. It's 2024. I'm not coming at you as a lightweight. I want you to be prepared for what's coming. We're at 300 people live right now. So give it a thumbs up, share that internet address, and let's get into it. Okay, Jolene, who do we got next? Who is up? Who has something to say? And it is our Canadian brother, Boomer, 21, with a $20, folks, 220 super chat donation. And he says, if this invasion, which is taking place all over the West, whereas places like London in the United Kingdom, a white guy looks like a tourist, the West will surely fall without one single shot being fired. Now, I understand what you're saying. In London, in the middle of jolly old England, London, and where is Steve Conlon when we need him to give us the update on England? And our good friend up in, what, we got Ireland, Scotland. We're well represented in the UK, folks, the Prepared Mind Network, Freedom Network, the R Syndicate Network. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, when you see a white man in a Western country like, well, a Western city like London, England, New York City, Chicago, LA, San Francisco, if it starts being a rarity, yeah, that's a problem. But please understand me, Boomer. And I completely see where you're coming from. 100%. I see it. I know what you're fucking saying. When you look around and you're like, hey, where's all the fucking Americans? Or where's all the Canadians, eh? Where are they? By golly, I can't see a single Englishman for miles. Right, that. Right? When you're down in Australia's fighting it, folks. Australia's never liked letting people in. But yeah, we're all being overrun by these third world scumbags. Now, I'm going to get to the last part of your statement. The West will surely fall without one single shot being fired. What happens, folks, or Boomer, all of us, look, just because we've got all these people coming across the border, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden our ammunition will not fire. It does not mean that our guns will jam. It doesn't mean that our 30-round standard capacity magazines will fail and not feed. In fact, I checked that just the other day. Took out a full magazine. Oh, well, hold on right there. Don't go anywhere. Okay. Yeah. I told you guys I'm in the ammo section. So, let me see if I can make this abundantly fucking clear. Let's see. Well, that's 5 out of the 50 freaking magazines just in this bag alone right here. Ugh. Did you hear that? Guess what? That ammo all works. I don't care how many fucking people stand around and act like they're not from this country. That ammo is still going to work. And if they, meaning the bad guys, get violent, I'm not going to be the aggressor, folks. I will be defending America, defending you, defending my flag, defending my Constitution. And I think more and more people are feeling just like that. Boomer, I love you, man. I really hope that Canada does not fall. In fact, I think I was Are you ready? It won't take long, folks. I love my old fucking boonie hat. It won't take long for people to go, you know what? It's gone. It's time to protect our country. Ooh. Mix that drink pretty strong. Anyways, are you prepared? Or are you just going to let this country go? At what point do we say that's enough of this bullshit? Well, get this. Former Vice President Mike Pence, remember that guy? He said that for President Trump to refer to the January 6th defendants, to call them hostages, was unacceptable. That's what Mike Pence says. Who cares what fucking Mike Pence says, right? Number one, in my opinion, hostages is not a strong enough word. Maybe political prisoners would be a more appropriate. And number two, fuck Michael Pence. Who gives a shit, Michael? You're going to go down in history with an asterisk next to your name. And I hope you have a public grave that everyone gets a chance to piss on. It is unbelievable what is going on, folks, right now in this country. In Washington, D.C., how they're destroying everything. We're seeing it. They are now, and think about this, folks. We've always felt that the Democrats in Washington, D.C. were not really on our side, that they're more concerned about lining their pockets, passing laws, protecting themselves, making themselves feel safe, enriching themselves while taking your money, my money, and giving it to other people. Now they have gone off the hook and they are directly involving themselves in invading this country by bringing in these illegals and taking our military hardware, armament, artillery, and sending it to Ukraine to be wasted or sold to other terrorists. I have no problem saying there will be shots fired, and it's going to happen. Like I said, I spent a good deal of this weekend listening to stories about revolution and what happened. The shot that was heard around the world. We've all heard that expression. Do you remember vividly how it came about? Well, you've heard of Lexington and Concord. That's where the first battles against the English happened. Two little chicken shit towns. Lexington, Concord. The Minutemen were called. There was this loudmouth guy named Paul Revere riding through the night screaming, "The Redcoats are coming, the Redcoats are coming," waking people up, letting them know shit's about to hit the fan. The people of America said, you know, we've finally had a fucking enough. We've got our Minuteman forces. Minutemen were militia, just like you, just like me. The moment someone sounds the alarm, within minutes, folks, you saw me in 20 seconds grab an ammo bag with God knows how many rounds loaded in magazines. I'm a lightweight compared to a lot of the people I've seen in this area. And I don't know if you've ever called someone who's a 280-pound Marine a fucking lightweight. You know, we're not lightweights, Americans. These fucking Minutemen, folks, from revolutionary times, they were just like me and you. You know what they did? They worked in farming or they worked in light industry. They didn't have heavy industry back then. The Industrial Revolution hadn't happened. It was all light industry and farming. They were sportsmen, they were hunters, and they were patriots. And they formed ragtag, loose groups of militia called Minutemen. And they knew the Redcoats were coming at Lexington and Concord, and they met them on the fucking battlefield. Out in the field. That's what they used to call the battlefield. It was just a fucking field. If there's no trees, we can go battle there. Battlefield. And they stood there, and the Redcoats stood there. Nobody saying a word. Nice and quiet. Nobody making a move. Nobody saying we're going to kill you. Just standing there facing each other. And for some reason, somehow, someone on the patriot American colonist side fired his musket. What happened after that was a fucking melee of rifles going off on both sides between the English, the Redcoats, and the Americans. That first shot was the shot heard around the world. When an empire that was so vast that its military occupied countries around the world, and the sun was always shining on something that England controlled. Well, a bunch of farmers, a bunch of light industrialists, a bunch of regular Americans like you and me decided it was time that they weren't going to put up with all of the theft, destruction, robbery, arrest, imprisonment, and rape, and murder, and arson. All those things were happening by the British, and they finally said enough. When it comes to saying that's enough of that shit, it was done. Mike Pence, unacceptable. You're unacceptable, you sack of shit. Remember, folks, in America, in the colonial times, do not forget that there were Tories. There were British sympathizers everywhere who would suck up to and lick and kiss the boots and the asses of the British. They didn't want to fight. They were cowards. They didn't want to fight. They were on the take. They didn't want to fight because they didn't want to be free. They didn't mind being subjected to a lying sack of shit like King George. The same way Democrats today don't mind being lied to by a sack of shit like Joe Biden and sucking up to all the Democrats and their ridiculous notions about how a country's supposed to be run. Oh, yeah, folks. You bet. You bet. Here we are. Now, it is Sunday Night Live, and that means it's your show. You get to pick the topics. All you have to do is hit that super chat button right up here. Get your question. We'll get it on the screen. Make you famous. Now, you can talk about any topic you want. You can talk about the stuff I've been talking about or introduce new things because, folks, SHTF is not one-dimensional. It's everything that is happening. Let's see what we got. Jolene, who is next? we have Nancy Keg with a $10 super chat donation. She said, for a cigar to go with the hat. Semper Fi, John. Okay. Well, he said, I keep my preps handy at all times. Handy at all times. Well, I tell you what, would you look at that? Would you look at that right there? Oh, yeah. That's a Cohiba right there. From Cuba. I need to have one of these. I've been smoking a lot less because it's not healthy for you. But I tell you what, I'm going to treat myself. Thank you, Nancy. I'm going to take that under advisement. I love it. Thank you very much, Nancy. I appreciate the great support. And it is you guys. Without you, the show goes away. Without you being here, the show goes away. Without your support through Super Chats, the show goes away. Without you hitting thumbs up, the show dies because that's what YouTube wants. They want to kill us. They want to kill the channel. If you see commercials on the show, guess what? That money goes to YouTube. It is only your Super Chat donations that make it into, shall we say, right, the bill paying box. I really appreciate it. We're at 325 people live right now. I want to hit 400 before the end of the show. At some point, we are 47 minutes in right now. We go 2 hours. 2 hours, folks, and it's time. And I've got more exciting things to share with you. Now, do I sound radical? Do I sound off the hook crazy? I'm talking about real fucking history. And these people on the left, these leftist scumbags, think I'm a radical. As soon as I start talking about what the redcoats were doing with the authority of the governors who were English subjects, right? They were aristocrats, very rich people who were appointed by King George to come over and dominate the colonies. So with the king's permission, the governor's permission, the prosecutors, the investigators, the redcoats, the military police went door to door, house to house, eating out of the people's lives, taking their food, taking their wealth, taking their property, taking their daughters, burning their farms, whatever they needed to do to make sure the Americans, that is to say the colonists, understood who the boss was. Doesn't that sound a little bit like today? Doesn't it? The redcoats would go and they would pay Native Americans to attack. That's right, folks. They paid Native Americans to attack colonists. But don't worry, folks. The Native Americans attacked the redcoats too. They were no fucking fans of anyone. I tell you what, it was a long time ago. People don't like to talk about how bad it was, what was going on. And they are pretending that today the same shit isn't happening when it is. Right now, the Biden White House is funding the Palestinian security forces. Did you know that? The last time they did that back in the early 90s, when Washington, D.C. funded the Palestinian security force, right? They wanted a paramilitary organization to help keep law and order in Palestine. Do you know what happened? The Palestinian security force turned into this thing called Hamas. All the weapons, all the training, all the ammunition, all the money that was given to them was turned and used to create a terrorist organization. So right now, Biden is now doing the same thing. Well, this time, the Palestinian people that they want to create, right? We got Israelis fighting the terrorists, and somehow, magically, there's good, wholehearted, honest, integrity-filled people in Palestine who are going to take the money, the training, the guns, and they're not going to attack Israel or commit acts of terror, right? Forget it. No. If the White House is willing to fund, train, and arm Palestinians, supposedly for keeping law and order. Would it surprise you if they're doing the same here in America, giving money, training, guns, and support to illegals that are here? This complaint's been around for decades, folks, that there are illegals here that are training, that there are terrorist camps in our country, down in states like Arizona and New Mexico, up in Colorado and other places, folks. Other places. I've even had people who have sworn an oath to not lie to me, tell me that they've seen UN troops and they have seen other military on our soil. Not on military bases, out in the middle of God's nowhere land. They're here. I have no doubt. The only thing I don't know is what exactly they have in mind. I just know that it can't be good, because if they were good, there'd be no problem sharing their presence, their training, the point and purpose of them being here. See what I'm saying? Now, the Democrats are the enemies of freedom and liberty. Is that an outrageous statement? No, it's not. It is not an outrageous statement. In Tennessee, there is a state senator. That's right, a state senator who gets to stand in front of the flag of Tennessee. Oh, and she is a Democrat. And she is black. And she is doing exactly what I'm going to tell you. She's calling for riots. That's right, she's promoting the idea of violence in the streets, chaos. Similar to, right? We are all well aware now of chaos in the streets thanks to St. George Floyd. Because Republican lawmakers in the state of Tennessee have passed a pro-police law. It hasn't gone to the governor. No, it hasn't gone to the governor for signature. It just passed Congress in the state. Republican lawmakers have passed, not right? But this Tennessee senator says, well, that's it. Then we need riots. And you know what I say when it comes to this shit? I've had enough of it. Okay, then, partisan purge it is. I'm prepared for the Democrats to cause chaos again and allow chaos again to flourish. I'm prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and my plan. I've got it together. Now, Tennessee is much further north than I am. I'm in the deep south. But they want to pull this shit. It's going to be time to do it. People are losing their jobs. They're losing their lives. We're losing our country. We're losing the children to these freaks. Freaks. What do you think? I mean, what's your opinion? Hit that super chat button. Tell me what's on your mind, folks. It is Sunday Night Live. Do you know what's happening in your country, in your state, in your city? Are you ready for what's coming? Jolene, what do we want to do next? We've got 340 people live, and it is Chin Music. He's back with a $19.99 super chat donation. And he says this, John, it is super important for us to have CQB hand-to-hand skills. These dirtbags will be in packs, and it will be more important how many punches one can take. You have limited time to take out the alpha, 10 to 15 seconds tops. Train. All right. Chin Music is in the self-defense or offense mode here in his thinking. Now, Chin Music, by the way, is down in Texas on the border. Right? He's seeing firsthand what is going on. He's seeing that the dirtbags do travel in packs. They don't come across the border, one here and one there. They come across in groups. These groups know each other. They know each other's names. Now, some of these groups are from Mexico. Some of these groups are from other countries, including Palestine, the Middle East, China. Even Russians are coming across the border. Doesn't make me happy, folks. Look, I don't have any problems with the Russians as long as they're in Russia. Now, let us continue. He says it will be more important how many punches one can take You have limited time to take out the alpha in 10 to 15 seconds. What he means by alpha is the leader of the pack, the alpha dog in these packs. Whether it's 5 people, 3 people, 15 or 30 people, yeah. Every last one of these people, folks, will look to their group leader to decide how to operate. Who do you know is in charge? Probably the guy standing out front, pointing, shouting orders, barking. Now, as far as hand-to-hand skills, I'm 54, kind of old. Right? I don't think I could take out more than 2 guys. Right? So if there's a pack of them, yeah, that's why I say carry your lawful sidearm, concealed weapon. Be lawful, obey the law, don't violate the law, don't break the law, but be prepared for these people at some point to be turned loose. Turned loose. Now, let us just take Tennessee, for example, Chin. Tennessee, the state senator calls for riots. What do they need to set things off? Well, last time it was a whacked out of his mind, drug-crazed, fentanyl-juiced, multiple felon out of prison who was just doused out of his mind on drugs, trying to pass off counterfeit bills, who gets the police called on him and dies while they're trying to arrest him because of his overdose. That was the excuse they used to start all of the riots in 2020. Well, I'll tell you what, Tennessee, as southern as it may be, is also full of a bunch of assholes. All states are, folks, even Texas, even Florida, full of left-wing assholes. Now, up in Tennessee, all they've got to do is have an incident between a minority of Americans or an incident with the illegals. Now, what do they have in France? They have neighborhoods jacked full of illegals in France. And if the police go in there and cause any trouble, they start burning cars, burning police cars, burning civilian cars, burning buildings, and rioting. So the police just leave and get out of those areas. How long until the illegals in America form their little clubs, their gangs, their packs, as Chin Music talks, and if any of them are offended or threatened or even killed, they might respond big time and give this stupid-ass senator, whatever the fuck her name is, the riots she's calling for. But what she doesn't understand, and all the other Democrats seem to not realize, is that they are also in the crosshairs. These illegals have no love for Democrats, folks. They can't stand any of these people in power at the state or the federal level. They're probably more afraid of us than they are of the politicians. And many of them are pro-Palestinian. Pro-Palestinian. And they say that the Democrats have blood on their hands. Well, the Democrats, if they call for riots, might just be purging themselves. And that's really how fucking stupid they are. Truly how stupid they are. Unbelievable. It's truly is. They are unfucking believable. Now get this. You want more trouble? Chin Music sent me this, and I also have it written down. Tyson Foods, right? They, at one of their food packing plants, have decided that they're going to fire American workers. That's right. Just lay them off. You're fired. Fuck you. Go home. We don't want you working for us. And they turn around, and what do? They hire illegal immigrants to work in the food factories. You want to know what I say? We boycott the fuck out of Tyson Foods. I'm not buying Tyson chicken. I'm not buying Tyson pork. Fuck Tyson Foods. Boycott them, folks. Boycott anyone who does this left-wing shit. And the same goes for Planet Fitness. It is time to boycott Planet Fitness. Why? Well, what'd they do? Well, they banned a woman, a paying member at a gym, Why? Because she took a photo of a man who was shaving in the women's locker room. Are you shitting me? You're a fucking transgender and you can't shave at home? Well, I'll tell you what, folks, a lot of these trannies have full beards and makeup and lipstick. They're absolute fruitcakes. So whether you're dealing with these fruitcake sexual fruits or these fruitcakes from other countries, they are not Americans. They have no idea what America's about. They have no idea what our fucking history is. They don't understand that you and I, as patriotic Americans, grew up, we were taught about America, our roots, our beginnings. Whether you're white or black, it was about fighting against evil, fighting against tyranny, fighting against foreigners being invited into our country to fight against us. Oh, yeah. Folks, the redcoats, guess what they did? They hired mercenaries from all over Europe. The most famous amongst them are the Hessians, who were a German mercenary group. But they also hired mercenaries from everywhere else. The English did, the redcoats, the British, and they brought them to America to fight us. The same way Joe Biden is bringing foreigners into this country to fight us. And these people have no idea what our history is. How Americans love our guns. We name our guns. I've got fucking bags and boxes full of ammunition. It's ready. I will make sure that other Americans are ready and willing and armed and set to protect this country. At some point, someplace, somewhere, somehow, the evil will make its move on us. Are you prepared? Are you prepared? Get this, even Elon Musk, is he red-pilled or is he black-pilled? Elon Musk, folks, he's not pulling any punches. He gets real, factual. And he's warning, folks, that there's either a red wave in November, meaning Donald Trump wins, or America is doomed. Why would someone like Elon Musk say that? His job, you would think, as a mega billionaire would be to make more EVs, make more Tesla cars, make more Tesla satellites, make more Tesla rockets, do whatever he does to make lots of money and check out. Why is Elon Musk worried about whether or not America is doomed? He's not even born an American. That's right. I believe he's South African. But Elon Musk, folks, is concerned. Is he red-pilled? Is he black-pilled? Is he full of shit? I think at the very least he's red-pilled. He's woken up. And he's realized, folks, that we're in big trouble here. Now, Elon Musk owns Twitter X. He owns Twitter X. And the Democrats hate that he has taken that away from them, taken it away from their bureaucracy, the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, and all of the left-wing, shall we say, bureaucracies that control and dominate free speech, including the CDC, the National Institutes of Health, and every other bureaucracy that has a lie they want us to swallow. Elon Musk, they don't like him anymore, folks. He is doomed to go down. He's doomed to go down. If Trump doesn't win, because they're going to destroy everything. He is like us, folks. He will own nothing and supposedly like it. The same way, folks, rich people during the American Revolution did not get carte blanche win. They weren't all allowed to win. That's why John Hancock, who was the absolute richest man in America, he signed the Declaration first, right in the center, in very large letters, so that King George could read it without putting on his glasses. The rich people are not insulated, folks. They've got to pick a side too. And I think Elon Musk has realized that he better pick a side, and it should be the side that makes him ultimately the most free and the most money in the end. Crazy world, folks. All right, super chat time. What do you guys want to talk about? Get your shot up here. And it is Bioxo77 with a 1999 super chat donation. And he says, save Albert the alligator. Government overreach. A guy had a pet alligator for 34 years, and now they changed the laws and wouldn't let him renew his licenses, and they sent a SWAT team to seize his pet alligator. Now listen here, folks. I am not a fan of reptiles. I don't like iguanas. I don't like snakes. I certainly don't have any love of alligators, but they do a great job. You know what that job is? They dispose of junk in the swamps, the bayous, and the rivers of the South. That's right. If you've got a problem, the alligators will clean it up. If someone wants to have an alligator for a pet, fine. Have it. But this is ridiculous, right? There's a law called a prohibition against ex post facto. That is to say, the government changing its mind and then going into your life and saying, we're now applying a new rule against everything you have. So therefore, if we say what you have is illegal, it's illegal. Now, this goes for alligators as much as it goes for AR-15s. And that's a big deal. They're like, you cannot. If I bought a firearm, a rifle, and the government said it was legal at the time, they didn't have any prohibitions against it, and then they come back 10 years later and go, no, that's illegal now. Sorry. There's a rule against ex post facto. You can't change the laws and then look back and make everything about us illegal. There are just so many principles, maxims, if you will, of law. And they're violating all of them that they can every single day. There needs to be a prohibition against government, period. I do not like eminent domain, which is part of the original Constitution, because there was the belief at that time that government would not overstep its bounds and violate the rights of individual Americans. They felt that government would do what was in the best interest of all people in the country. Now, here we've discovered that the Bill of Rights, thank God, was created because we refer to it all the time to protect our liberties, our country, our wealth, etc. Next time we do this, folks, there's going to be a Bill of Rights about a mile fucking long, and I will be at the front of the line putting my list in. The right to own property without encumbrance by the government or claim to title by the government, that we own it outright, 100%. All property in title, allodial, belonging to ourselves as individual sovereigns, whether it's an automobile or real estate. The government has no say and no right to touch, tax, regulate, or in any way take it. Property rights, folks. In fact, the term life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that one phrase, everything about the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, every phrase was looked over to try and make it as poignant as possible and applicable. The original was life, liberty, and property rights. But they felt that that was too limiting and that pursuit of happiness included the right to travel, the right to own property, the right to be free from constraint, restraint, or interference by government. That makes people fucking happy. Here we are. Shit has hit the fan, and look what they're doing. They're coming after us. Every year, more and more, they're doing more to take us. Now, in some areas, you can be arrested for bias against fruitcakes who like to play butt darts. Well, I don't like the way you treated me. I'm going to go complain that you used some kind of bias against me. It's a hate crime. Oh, shit. The hate crime bullshit, folks, is off the hook. Off the hook. Just unbelievable. Off the hook. It's off the hook. Okay. They're Tyson Foods. Get this. 6 United States of America children in middle school, folks. They're not even in high school. 6 middle school children are facing hate crime charges because they had a racist online chat. Now, I am not going to defend racism, but I'm going to defend free speech. Now, they're being charged with heinous language, threats, and talking about a slave auction. That's a hate crime, folks, right? Well, what about all of the pro-Palestinian Americans? What about all of the pro-Hamas Americans? What about all the pro-Palestinian Americans who are calling for genocide of all Jews on the planet, of wiping out all Israelis and wiping the nation of Israel off the planet and destroying that government and everybody? Why isn't that a hate crime? They're certainly more active than 6 children who are 12 years or younger. What about all the anti-white hate that's coming from Marxist groups in America? What about that? See, we're being systematically picked apart and made to feel afraid of talking about freedom and liberty. I don't give a shit if these stupid kids are racists. They're fucking kids, right? Until they commit a crime, they haven't committed a crime. But hate charges. And what did they do? They had a chat session in some chat app. I think it was a WhatsApp chat. So how did they get caught? Who was watching them? Who was watching their stuff? I guess somebody's parent, somebody's friend, or maybe the police were eavesdropping. To me, it's ridiculous, though, that this dumb bitch who's a Tennessee state senator can call for chaos and riots. That these Palestinian supporters can call for terrorism and the murder of Jews and harassing people, physically threatening people, violating people's rights in colleges, in big cities, and they're fine. But a bunch of children having a ridiculous children's discussion? Well, we can't have that. This is the world we live in. This is why I say we need to be prepared. This is what, right, the Prepared Mind Network is about, is getting prepared and understanding, folks, not how to be a commando, right? I'm not going to sit here and talk about what flashlight or knife or gun is the very best. And without what I say, you're going to die. It's not what it's about. It's about being generally prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Knowing that. 10-mile radius, bam, you're right in the middle of it. Who lives within 10 miles of you in every direction? Who are they? What do they do? What are your resources? Are you surrounded by the enemy? Friends? A little of both? It's understanding your world and then the greater world around all of us. What is the threat we are facing? The FBI, federal law enforcement, out of control Democrat police departments who will go out and arrest every Republican they can and let every Democrat get by. For example, school board meetings. Parents who are trying to protect their children are still being either kicked out of meetings or arrested for speaking up against the pedophiles in schools as teachers and librarians who are trying to destroy children. Understand the world we're in is not friendly to us. It does not like us. It doesn't want us to exist. It wants us destroyed. Folks, we're almost at 400 people live right now. We're at 380 and rising. We're an hour and 15 minutes in. Hit the thumbs up button. Share that internet address with everybody, including the people you don't like. If you don't like them, say, hey, you don't like me? If you think you don't like me, listen to this John guy. You'll really learn about someone you're not going to want to like or meet. But this is the world we live in. This is what they're trying to do to it. Arresting kids, middle schoolers, for having idiotic conversations about slaves and auctions. Folks, when I was in high school, everyone my age, I'm 54 and older, I don't know when they stopped doing it. We used to have slave auctions every year in school, in high school. The outgoing seniors would sell themselves as slaves for the day, and they would have to carry the other kids' books, go get their lunch, right? Whatever you could think to have your slave do that was legal and ethical and moral. Basically, it was a joke. It was a fundraiser. It was slave auction. Can you imagine that happening today? You can't even talk about slaves and having a slave auction without being arrested and charged with a fucking hate crime. How dumb is that? Right? You can't talk about slaves, but Joe Biden can publicly engage in an election interference. Same with Chuck Schumer. It's 100% proven now that what they're doing is they're trying to get a different Israeli elected instead of Bibi Netanyahu. Not that I'm a huge Netanyahu fan, right? Not that I love King Bibi. It's not my business. It's their country. We've got our fight in our country. How can I worry about what's going on in Israel or fucking Ukraine or Denmark if we can't even get our own country under control? Well, I can manage to watch what's going on in the other countries, but I can't affect any of that. I just watch it. That's what we do here, is watch everything and understand how it affects us. How it affects us. Anyways, Biden is a fucking hypocrite. Absolute. Okay. This is Sunday Night Live, and I get carried away a little bit. You guys hit that super chat button right up there. You can get your comments on the screen down here. I want to thank you all for that. And we've got more. Jolene, who's next? We have bump, 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 bump. Who's up? Who is on the screen? It is Robert Hodges with a $5 super chat donation. And this is a great quote from Lysander Spooner. And Mr. Skylight is normally our quote guy, but it looks like Robert Hodges wants to take a whack at it. And here is the quote. Those who are capable of tyranny are capable of perjury to sustain it. Isn't that a marvelous quote? So those who are capable of tyranny, meaning if you have the power to be a tyrant, like Joe Biden, like the Attorney General, Marlik Butt Sniffer Garlic, and I mess his name up on purpose every single time, Letitia James, Fat Ass Fanny, Nancy Pants Pelosi, Hillary Stinkin' Clinton, who actually won her way to be the thumbnail for this video, right? The My Little Phony Clinton. They're capable and willing to be tyrants because they have power. And once they get that power, they're capable of lying, perjury to keep it. Like Fat Ass Fanny, she perjured herself multiple times, and she's still allowed to sit as a prosecutor and prosecute through her office the President of the United States, Donald Trump. Talk about being a fucking tyrant and capable. And they have the power to sustain it, meaning they are going to stay in power until they are removed from power. It needs to happen, folks. It obviously does. It obviously does. The tyrants have the media, which is failing, by the way. Anyways, there's a left-wing idiot out there who called Donald Trump demonic on TV, the media. And don't worry, people are starting to fight back. A gentleman named Benny Johnson absolutely humiliated this asshole for calling Trump demonic. There's more, folks. There's a lot more coming. It has just begun. We are now still in the war of words. We're now shouting across fences at each other, right? This idiot, folks, was on Piers Morgan Uncensored. Piers Morgan Uncensored. Piers is a Brit, by the way. Anyways, uncensored, my ass. It's completely fucking censored. Anyways, some idiot named Destiny. That's the name. Destiny? Wow, what What a brilliant dude, right? A guy named Destiny. Or maybe he's a chick. I don't know what he identifies as. Anyways, Destiny referred to Trump as demonic. And Benny Johnson went after him. You let him know, hey, folks, let's be honest, right? Trump combated human smuggling. And what is Biden doing? Facilitating it in Afghanistan, third world nations, Haiti. Trump stopped wars. Biden has continued to increase them. Right? Wars have happened under Trump or Biden, but not under Trump. It's just fucking unbelievable. These leftists are idiots, folks. They're off the hook. What do you want to talk about? It is now your shot, your turn. Hit that super chat button there, and we are very close to 400 people live. So if you haven't done it, hit the thumbs up. Jolene, who's next? Share that internet address. And here is Boomer. He's back again with a $10 super chat donation. Boomer21. He said this: rest assured, the self-loathing whites. Woo! That would be our Tories today. Our British sympathizers from revolutionary times are now self-loathing, self-hating, America-hating white liberals. So he says, rest assured, the self-loathing whites, along with the LGBTQ crowd, who stand alongside the Hamas nationals in their demonstrations, they will be the first ones to go down here in the West. Now, you are correct. And I'll tell you what, how many of these LGBTQ fruitcakes joined the hardcore Palestinian supporters in New York City, in Chicago, and other big cities, and they were told to get the fuck out. Some of them were assaulted. Some of them were just shoved. Some of them were yelled at. We don't want you, the gay crowd, the LGBS crowd, amongst us. Folks, the Palestinian, pro-Palestinian types, the real ones, the hardcore ones, the leaders, they're jihadis. They're Islamists. They believe in killing homosexuals, throwing them off of buildings, chopping their heads off publicly to make a spectacle of them, to let the rest of the gay people know you're not loved by Islam. Period. And they have been killed in other countries trying to protest, saying, well, we're fairies for Palestine. We're gays for Palestine. They're getting themselves killed around the world being that stupid. So when it comes to they're self-loathing. They hate themselves. And they just put themselves right in harm's way. They are the ones who, without firing a shot, will be fired upon. That's another thing. These idiot leftists, they're putting a big bullseye on themselves. Remember, most Democrats don't like guns, folks, so they don't have them. A lot of them do, surprisingly. And they're even going out and training, which tells me you should be doing the same thing. Me as well. I see them at the gun range. I see them there. They don't know what they're doing. They're learning, though. They're trying. They're pretending. I look across down the range at their targets, and I see them all over the fucking place. They don't know whether to focus on the target or the rear sight. They don't know shit. They're fucking yanking the trigger. They're flinching. They're squinting their eyes and closing their eyes when they shoot, and they're all over the fucking place. When you hear like wood shatter off of the target holder, you're like, yep, there's another idiot learning to shoot. They're there. Now, if you're not a great shot, I'm not making fun of you. Get professional help. You can get assistance, get a coach, learn to shoot. Learn to shoot. And I want all these idiots out here to hold a gun like that. Go ahead, hold it like that. Hey, man, what's up? I'll bust a cap in your ass. Do it. They're out there. Boomer, I agree with you. The left will make themselves targets. The ones that want to get violent will make themselves targets. The ones that don't realize they're making themselves quick victims of the people they think they support, Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Thank you, Boomer, very much. We've got a lot to talk about, folks. I have barely scratched the surface with you. It is your show. It is Sunday Night Live. This is your chance to do the talking. I'm just the host. It's your show on Sunday Night Live. What is on your mind? What is on your mind? I've been talking about the pro-Palestinians, right? The pro-terrorists, the pro-Hamas. They swarmed this week, like locusts inside the New York Times headquarters, and they went to the New York Times printing plant where they print newspapers. Hell, I didn't know they still printed newspapers. I mean, there's so much from the world that used to exist. Newspaper machines, phone booths. What happened? What happened to all them? Well, I guess there's still some of that going on. I tell you. You think I'm fucking kidding? What do you want to talk about? We're at 90 minutes almost into this show. We're just this shy, just a few shy of 400 live. Get your questions in. Get more people watching. Hit the thumbs up. And get this, folks. I don't have to make this shit up. At the border, they caught an illegal. They caught him. And he admitted something, folks, to them. He admitted that he is a terrorist. He admitted that he is a Hezbollah terrorist. Hezbollah are Iranian terrorists. And they work throughout the Middle East, folks. They don't just work inside of Iran. They work in Syria, Jordan, Egypt, Gaza. They work with Hamas and others, and they support them. This Hezbollah terrorist said this, quote, "I am going to try to make a bomb." Now, was he really a terrorist? How can I know? How can I know? But he said he was. Why would someone admit that? Unbelievable. That's just one. How many have made it through? How many have made it through? Okay, here we go. Who is up next? Jolene, what do we want to talk about? Who has something to say? It is Dan Erickson. He's been a member for 1 month here on the Prepared Mind channel, and he's done a YouTube membership. If you want to participate Monday through Friday live for free, you have to do the $2 membership at thepreparedmind.club or subscribestar.com. But Sunday Night Live, it is good. And he says this, Dan Erickson steps up and says, "We better win 2024 or we are fucked." I agree 100%. You know, as it is, we're fucked where we're at. Now, Donald Trump, let's just assume for argument's sake, he wins 2024. The Democrats concede. Okay, Trump, you won. We couldn't pull it off. We couldn't lie. We couldn't cheat. We couldn't fuck everyone over again. Too many of you Republicans were awake and went to the polling places and watched and monitored and kept the cheating down. The Democrats are like, we couldn't cheat this time. Right? We go through 2025. President Trump is inaugurated for his second term. We are fucked anyways. I believe the left is going to become even more violent, even more triggered, even more anti-American. I believe that governors in Democrat states are going to get even more radically left. That mayors in Democrat cities, they're going to have riots. They're going to be off the hook. The economy, folks, has been damaged already. Our industry has been damaged already. Our finance system, our monetary system, our military system, our educational systems are damaged already. It's going to take years to replace and repair that. Now, for example, World War II, Europe was ravaged. right? They got ravaged in World War I, ravaged in World War II, destroyed their economy and their infrastructure. At the end of World War II, Americans were driving big, fat, heavy cars. Over in Europe, depending on the wealth of the nation and how badly they were fucked up, they got little cars. Beep, beep. They got to drive scooters, like Vespas. They didn't have the industry or the resources or the wealth to live great because of so much destruction. What destruction have we seen here in America? All of our industry and manufacturing is continuously being chased out of the country, and those corporations are being rewarded with greater and greater profits. Industry in America, from mining to refining to production to manufacturing, is gone. It's all but gone. Relative speaking, right? What we have left now compared to how big America was, it was a sleeping giant. It was an industrial powerhouse that no other nation in the world could match. Even China today is nothing compared to what America once was. So Trump goes and does a speech this weekend. And he says, if he loses in 2024, if he doesn't win, if we don't win, then there is going to be a bloodbath in the auto industry. Now, number one, he's correct. Our industry is going to continue to be destroyed and demolished. But even if he wins, the damage is done. They're continuing to send our wealth out of the country and import more poverty, more lack of wealth, more poverty or wealth destruction. That's our illegals that are coming in here. What, 15 fucking million now? They're saying over 3 million this year alone are coming in. Almost 4 million this year alone. They're saying it's going to be the biggest year ever for illegals flooding into this fucking country thanks to Joe Biden. It won't be a quick fix. We're fucked any way you look at it, Mr. Erickson. The question is, are you prepared to live through it? Are you prepared to survive your way through it? Are you prepared to rebuild as we go through this SHTF shit show? Are you prepared to fight for America? To fight for your own life and your own freedom and liberty? To fight to own your own property? Or are you going to allow yourself to succumb to the left and all their shit? And I'm not picking on you, Dan. I agree with you 100%. We better win 2024 or we're absolutely fucked. But if we win, we're still fucked. We're still fucked. It's unbelievable. But get ready, folks. Get ready. Jolene, what do we got? Where are we at? Who's up next? And there he is. It is Mr. Skylight. Over the weekend, Mr. Skylight left me in tears with lots of jokes. He does a good job of keeping me informed and also lighten the mood. And I really appreciate it, Mr. Skylight. Always, always, always. Sometimes I don't have time to read everything and get to everything. Other times I do, and I enjoy it. So he's got his quote from Jean-Jacques Rousseau. And the quote is, "Those that are most slow in making a promise are the most faithful in the performance of it." Now, this is a thinking quote, right? People who are quick to jump on the bandwagon are just as quick to jump off it because they don't think about it. They don't think about it. People that have jumped on this LGBT bandwagon, once they realize what are happening to kids, they're just as quick to go, hey, I didn't know we were doing that. Right? Just like all these schools, parents are like, whoa. We were being really kind and cool and letting you guys, but we found out you're putting pedophile books in our school. And Americans were all supportive of, well, we need to let LGBTQ people in the military. And then they're like, whoa, we're paying for them getting sex change operations? That's what the military is now? People who are making a promise, slow to make a promise. Could it be that they're actually thinking about it, studying, learning, figuring out, watching, the progress, or rather regress of what's happening? Well, I think that's what we do here on this channel. Is I am not fast to make a decision. I've got years and years and years of following this, following the progressive nature of it, as we sink further and further and further down under Democrat policy, Democrat leadership, the destruction of this country, from our laws to our institutions to bureaucracy to law enforcement, prosecutors, judges, everything. So when I promise I'm ready to fight, I've had a lot of time to think about it. When I was young and brash, of course, that's why they want young men in the military, folks, is they'll follow orders. And that's good, right? We got to have that. But if you want people who are faithful in the performance of their promise, their oath, look to people who are intelligent and have paid attention, have educated themselves, and have chosen intelligently what their belief system is. Anyways, Mr. Skylight, I appreciate that. And bringing up Jean-Jacques Rousseau is quite interesting. I can't remember who it was, but they had a quote from Voltaire and other great philosophers from our modern times. Let's do this. Let us move on if we shall. What have I got? Oh, I've got a lot, folks. I've got a lot of what is going on. Get this, folks. You want to talk about some stupid shit? A principal in America has decided to call the police because a little girl posted a Smurfs a Smurf memes, Smurfy videos, Smurfy material on TikTok. And this Smurf material was right-wing. So that's right. The principal, Jan Dirk Zimmerman. Yeah. Went and found a little girl with 3 cops. Unbelievable, folks. Let me give you some more details on this. Oh, by the way, this is in Germany, not America. My mistake if I said America, right? Blue is the color for the political party, Alternative for Germany, right? Alternative for Deutschland. And so because of Smurfs, they believe that that was a right-wing reference. Because Smurfs are blue, then you are a racist, queerphobic, and a climate denialist. You have anti-vax views. So they go after a little girl, folks, a little girl named Loretta. The Smurfs in Germany have something in common. Isn't that amazing? A cartoon will get the police called on you. Is that the world you want? It's not the Germany I ever thought really existed, but is that the world that we want? Is that the America we want? That's what we're getting, right? Remember, if you have bias in the state of Washington, you can be arrested. If you hear of somebody, a friend or family even, you can be paid up to $2,000 by the government of Washington state for turning someone in, reporting on them for being biased. Biased what? Against fruitcakes, against communists, against anyone who wants to claim you're a bad person and you have bias. It's unfucking believable. You can have bias, folks. You can have bias against Trump. You can lie about him all day long. They seem to care more about Smurfs than they do about all the kids who are dying in record numbers and record volumes. From what? From what? From the Jim Jones juice, folks. I've got this from Darcy T. She decided to check back in, shoot me a little email. And it's out there, right? From the Huffington Post. And the question is, why do we always want to know how someone died? Well, there's a reason behind that. There's a reason behind it, but they don't care. Anyways, the media used to be on our side. They're not anymore. They're hiding these articles the same way I reported to you the CDC. The CDC put out 148 pages of a report, and there's not one word on there, not a single word that you can read anything about. Where's the America that you and I grew up with? Where's the America we know and love? Where is that America, folks? Well, let me tell you about this. The Navy, folks, raided and rescued a cargo ship that was hijacked by Somali pirates. Doesn't that make you proud to know that the Navy did that? They finally stepped up and said enough of this pirate shit. And they went after and they raided a ship. They rescued it. And they kidnapped or got all the kidnappees back, got rid of the pirates. That was not the U.S. Navy, folks. Sorry to say, the U.S. Navy did not do that. The Navy of India, the nation of India, their Navy rescued a cargo ship. Shouldn't the United States Navy be doing this type of work? Protecting American ships and our allies? Shouldn't they be doing that? And just fucking lighting pirates up. Why is it pirates can run around with their RPGs and their fucking AK-47s and take over ships and not be killed left and right? It needs to happen, folks. We need to have law and order back. So India is showing America now, this is how you protect the high seas. And guess what? The Dominican Republic is telling everyone, this is how you handle a border. Now, the Dominican Republic, that may sound familiar to you because I've been talking about them. They share an island with Haiti. Right? Haiti has like 1/3 or 1/4 of the island. And the rest of it is the Dominican Republic. Well, they have decided they're going to seal their border, shut it down, shut it off. Not only are they stopping Haitians from sneaking into the Dominican Republic inside, but the Dominican Republic is deporting thousands and thousands of illegal Haitians that have made their way into their country. Let's see, you keep the border shut, you keep it manned, you keep the people there armed, problem solved. President Trump is promising that there will be the greatest deportation effort ever done by the American government if he gets back to the presidency. That alone should make people vote for Trump. Wild world, folks. Look out for those Smurfs, by the way. They're dangerous. Absolutely dangerous. Driver's licenses for illegal aliens. Are you aware of that? Driver's licenses for illegal aliens. I remember when I got my license, I had to prove that I could, well, that I was an American, that I had a birth certificate, that I was who I said I was. I had to take a test to prove I understood the laws. Then I had to take a driving test and demonstrate that I knew how to drive. They're just giving driver's license to illegals, and they're killing Americans. They're damaging property. They're injuring Americans. Unfucking believable. Are you prepared? Do you know what's coming next? Do you know what the next step is? I sure hope you do, folks. I sure hope you do. What do you want to talk about? We got 15 minutes left in this Prepared Mind episode. What is on your mind? What do you want to talk about? Hit the super chat button. We'll get your comment on the screen. Here we go. Let's do it. Jolene, who's up next? We got Bioxo77 with a $1.99 super chat donation. He says, hey, pirates. That makes me think of the R Syndicate. That's right. There's this website called www.rsyndicate.com. Now, the Prepared Mind channel, thank you very much there, Prepared Mother. The Prepared Mind channel is about getting prepared. You can go to the preparedmind.club. We've got premium access to the video content. We've got materials that you can buy to get prepared. right? Food, water, shelter, clothing, all these things, self-defense, antibiotics, radios, comms, everything we can that we found that works, gas masks, links to things, but also the rsyndicate.com is every other prepper channel, every other patriot channel. And it's run by none other than Uman, who built that, runs it, and it is not a money-making, it's not a money-making thing. It is getting information out. That is the point of this channel, is to get information out, wake people up, red pill them, wake up, get prepared. It is coming. It is going to get worse. The government is not our friend at the federal level and many at the state level. Let me give you an example. I know we've got Boomer out there. He's checked in twice today with some great content, but Canada has basically fallen. America is falling, and we'll get there very quick. But in Toronto, folks, Toronto, Canada, police have arrested not the pro-Hamas terrorists who are rallying. Instead, they arrest a reporter, a man named David Menzies, because he was committing the act of journalism. Free speech, free press, any freedoms at all in Canada? Doesn't sound like it, right? All governments today, folks, are becoming the enemies of everyone. Today, tomorrow, here, there, and everywhere. Are you prepared? What are you going to do when they say, you've got to tell us where your guns are? What are you going to do when they say, you have to come down here and swear allegiance to Joe Biden, to the United Nations, to the LGB crowd, to Black Lives Matter, BLM? Remember when people would stand in front of Black Lives Matter and take a knee, bend their knee, and raise their hand and swear they were on their side? Fuck that. But they're going to push it, folks. They're making people swear to LGB God, their fruitcake God, their Baphomet, their Satan that they love. They're making people swear allegiance to that. It's called worship. You know what worship is? It means work for, to serve, and work for is to worship. If you serve, if you work for and allow these fruitcakes to take charge, then we're going to get what we deserve, folks. And I'm not doing that. I'm going the other way. I'm fighting back against these worthless bastards. Anyways, we've got, 10 minutes left. How about another super chat donation? Jolene Uman, who is up next? We've got Robert Hodges with another $10 super chat donation. And he says, hey, have you thought about a group on Telegram to post things unconventional on Facebook, YouTube? Isn't the Constitution giving government authority to rule over us as long as they follow it? Marbury versus Madison. The Marbury versus Madison reference is a Supreme Court decision that happened very early on in our American Republic. Essentially, the ruling was anything that is repugnant to the Constitution is null and void. Right? So Facebook and YouTube, they're not government institutions. They can, if they wish, remove anyone for whatever reason they have. So they do. But the thing is that the government, the federal government under Joe Biden, under the Democrats, they are colluding with, they are in cahoots with, they are cooperating these social media companies like Facebook, like YouTube, Instagram. They are colluding to silence us. And let me go again. Robert asks, isn't the Constitution giving government authority to rule over us as long as they follow it? The answer is no. The government does not have authority to rule us. Read the Constitution, my friends. The Constitution authorizes the government to perform very specific functions. I have read nowhere in the federal Constitution, the U.S. Constitution, where it says it can tell the private citizens, the people, what to do. It talks about post office. It talks about the branches of government. and their restrictions and limitations and how they must operate. It talks about how they can tax, what their taxing authority is and what it isn't. And the Bill of Rights limits the government and reminds and restricts the governments absolutely and says, hey, especially the 10th Amendment, which says, right, right, all authority, all power, whatever have you, and I'm paraphrasing, anything not directly, any power not directly given to the federal government is reserved to the states, which are individual nations, and the people. All rights are reserved to the states and to the people. Federal government is an extremely limited organization. They print coin, money, right? Manage a military for national defense. In fact, but they did speak out quite a bit about having a standing army. But here we are, folks. This is the world we live in now. This is the world we live in. What do you think of it? Are you prepared? What's the most important thing to you right now to do? Is it to get ready? Is it to educate yourself? Is it to wake up others? What do you have in mind? The left, folks, they're a freak show. Remember this guy named Keith Olbermann? Keith Olbermann was a mainstream media left-wing mouthpiece, and he proved himself to be a lunatic, and a lunatic that no one wanted to listen to. Well, he still has his social media outreach, and he has been fantasizing, folks, about Trump's assassination. That's the world we live in. Who would assassinate Trump? The government? The CIA? The FBI? Illegal immigrants who are actually terrorists? How about paid assassins? Well, Olbermann can't help but wish for that, folks. Wish for the assassination. Here's his quote: "There's always the hope." Folks, it's a very real potential. And Democrats in the media, in politics, keep hinting at it, keep talking about it, keep putting it out there, and that's their hope. That's their hope, is that Trump is assassinated. Let me ask you this. Trump fills stadiums, arenas, fills them to the brim and over. Do you think there's anyone that can replace Trump and his popularity? If we did not have Trump and his popularity, would we have the voter turnout that we're going to need to defeat the Democrat political cheating system? No, that's why they want him dead. They would love to have Trump replaced with the next best thing. And the next best thing is not what America needs. We need a big fighter in the White House. All right, we're down to what? Oh my God, the last 7 minutes. If you've got something to say, super chat donations right up there. The show is going to end here shortly, unless we get blasted into with a bunch of questions and last minute comments and thoughts. It's happened before. So I'll stay here as long as we need to. Otherwise, we're going to wrap this show up. What do you want to talk about? This is your chance to get it to America, because all week long, this video will be viewed by people because you've given it thumbs up. Make sure you've thumbed up this video because you've shared that internet address. People will get to it. If not tonight, tomorrow, or the next day, or when they've got time. But they will get this message that they'd better get prepared. That the left-wingers, the socialists, the Marxists, the terrorists, the illegal immigrants, and even our own government is doing everything they can to destroy us. I mean, I want to give you an example. Wouldn't you think that the people who have Democrats for congressional leaders would be really happy with what's happening? Well, let me tell you about Biden's America and Democrat destruction of our country. In New York, folks, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's district has a huge problem. AOC, well, she seems to just worry about herself, her social media, how to lie and lie and lie and then lie some more. But now her district is overrun with illegal aliens. It is overrun with street prostitutes working both day and night, standing on corners, standing outside stores, shops, restaurants. And what are they doing? They're offering themselves up for sex. You bet, folks. And by the way, this is exactly what the Democrats want. This is exactly what they like. But the people, folks, the Americans are not liking what they're seeing. The Democrats are turning America into a third world shithole by inviting third world people to live here and bring them in illegally. And they don't give a fuck. They literally do not care. What do you think of that? I mean, it used to be that you wouldn't run for office unless you cared. It used to be that Americans wouldn't run for local, state, or federal office unless they really cared, unless they were committed, because it took so much time and effort to run an election to get elected. Well, now they say, I'm going to run for Congress. I need to find some sponsors because, and this is not me, but this is just take your average rhino or Democrat. They put their hand out and say, who's going to bribe me? Who's going to pay me off? Who's going to give me a bunch of money to vote for things they like? I'm going to claim to be a Republican, but don't worry, I'm for sale. That's essentially what these politicians are. They're for sale. Whoever has the most money, send it on in. That'll be great. They'll be perfectly fucking happy with that. Right? Perfectly happy. Meanwhile, well, they're all for fucking sale. Get this, folks. Camel Toes Harris. You know who I'm talking about. Her stepdaughter. Guess what she's doing? She's for sale too. She's raising money using her name and her face and who she is to raise money to give to a group that is tied to, you guessed it, the scumbags who murdered Jews on October 7th. No, this is a Gateway Pundit article, folks. They're all about supporting people who slaughtered Jews on October 7th. That's what their interest is. Make themselves rich, raise money, send it over to terrorists, keep going. Isn't that a hate crime, by the way? Isn't and aiding terrorists, isn't that a crime, like a real crime, to aid terrorists, to give aid and comfort to murderers? You would think that would be a crime. It is absolutely disgusting what is going on. It absolutely is. I'm going to tell you, I want to finish the show up unless we get some more super chats. So actually, I think that did it right there. Let's do it. Let's do a super chat. I'm going to hold off on this other article and see what you guys want to talk about. Where are we at, Jolene? What do we have? We have William Hallman with a 556 super chat donation. He says, hey, John, give me your email address. I will send you the article on refugee camps in Greensboro. I believe that's North Carolina. I want to know how much there are. I want to know how much there are. You want me to know how much there are or how many there are? I have read thousands, but, I'm not there. I'm not there. Okay. Jolene says, have him my email, gave him my email. Good. Very good. That's a great way to go about it. My email box gets jam-packed pretty quick every day already. Not that I don't want to talk to you, William, or everyone else. It's just between Jolene, Uman, and I, it is a handful to deal with all the SHTF that is happening right now. It is huge. There is so much going on, whether it has to do with colleges, politicians, the military, or kids. Kids in other countries, kids in this country. Right? I just covered Camel Toes Harris's stepdaughter, what she's doing. Well, I mean, it's just crazy. The insanity has gone from the old people in Washington, D.C. selling out the country, all the way down to kids in school getting the shit beat out of them. And I mean getting the shit beat out of them. Little children on school buses being pummeled and beaten by, shall we say, Democrat-minded older kids, to gangs of kids picking on one or two kids. I watched a video the other day of a girl getting her head smashed into the concrete repeatedly by a much larger girl sitting on top of her, gave her brain damage, nerve damage, bleeding of her brain. I'm surprised she's not dead. They finally arrested the criminal. Folks, it's just out of hand. It is. Greg Gutfield is now saying a lot of things. Folks, everyone is trying to say something and wake people up. And I do appreciate those last few people left in the mainstream media who have something to say and they're trying to help. But the media basically is lost. It's down to me and you now, right? We're the Minutemen. We're the Paul Revere. We're running through the middle of the night and all day long, shots saying the redcoats are coming, the illegals are coming, the communists are coming, the Marxists are coming. Get prepared. Get ready. It is unbelievable what is happening. It truly is. And it's disgusting and it's heartbreaking. I sure hope you're ready. I sure hope you are, folks. We've got to fight back on every level in our lives, at our jobs. We got to fight for the country in this election. Folks, over a dozen female athletes have filed a lawsuit against the College Athletic Association, the NCAA, because men are competing in women's sports. They're suing them. It is, folks, lawfare, warfare, social media war. Everything is the fight, right? The lawsuit is being filed by students against their school for trying to stop them from praying together. The Supreme Court explained more than 50 years ago in the case of Tinker versus Des Moines Independent School District. That's right, Des Moines, Iowa. Right? And basically the ruling here, it was 393 U.S. 503 and 506 from 1969. Students do not shed their constitutional rights to freedom of speech or expression at the schoolhouse gate. The vigilant protection of constitutional freedoms is nowhere more vital than in the community of American schools. The right of free expression is far more important than prayer, even in my opinion. Right? Prayer, yeah, school prayer. How about your belief system? The kids are being attacked, folks. The adults are being attacked. Our system's being attacked. I say to you, share your opinion wherever, whenever, and with whoever you want. Choose to be the person you are. That's the point of the First Amendment. To oppose the LGB plus crowd, to use free speech to oppose the racist, anti-white, anti-freedom crowd. We've got to have free speech, folks, with zero give-a-fucks about being charged with their bullshit hate crime. We need to expose their hatred of liberty and freedom, our country, and the Constitution. It is that kind of world. I really want to thank everyone for coming here. We had a great crowd, big turnout on the Prepared Mind channel, Sunday Night Live at the zoo here. And I have to rely on you. Rely on you guys to make everything work. And I just got a message from backcountry prepper himself, Vaughn, BCP. And he says, hey, trying to do a super chat, but it's not working. Yeah, YouTube is trying to kind of shut that down and make that difficult a lot as well. You guys supporting the channel, they don't want it to happen. They don't want to cancel the channel. They want to put commercials on and make money off it and keep it for themselves. But anyways, Vaughn and Karen, they just want to say that they love me and appreciate everything I do. Stay safe, homie, he writes. I tell you what, man, Semper Fi to you, and all means always faithful. It's more than just the Marine Corps motto, Semper Fidelis, always faithful. Faithful to country, Corps, God, Constitution, and one another as patriots. That's how I live my life every single day, always faithful. And I'm ready for the fight, whether it's a verbal fight, any fight. That's where we're at now, folks. Don't be afraid. Be an American. The world fears Americans, not because we're evil or bad, but because we're fierce about our freedom. And we're hearing about other nations, folks, where people are standing up and doing what's right, like the Indian Navy. Isn't that amazing? Other countries are showing us what it means to fight for freedom and protect the weak. Join me, folks, in being an American, being what other countries know Americans to be. We can put the fear of God back in evil if we all line up and say, no more. You do not own me. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Godspeed, Semper Fi, and I'll see you guys 0 dark 30 tomorrow. And off I go.